friends, and welcome to all my new subscribers, of which I have to say there have been quite a lot recently, so thank you so much for joining me. Can you believe that it's March already? Where did the time go? February, I blinked and it was over. Not that I don't mind, I'm not really a January and February person, it's too cold for me. We've had unseasonable weather recently here in the UK. So we got up to a whopping 21 degrees, which I don't know what the conversion is, so I'll put that down here somewhere for you. But it's been very warm. And because of that, the snowdrops are out, the irises are out, the daffodils are going crazy, the tulips are coming up lovely. But apparently we're about to sort of have a dive in temperature again. So they lulled us into a false sense of security, and now we're about to probably get the weather that we're supposed to have at this time of year. So, but it's been lovely. It's been a lovely February. It's fast, but lovely. So what have we got to talk about today? So we have got whips, we've got FO, we've got what made me go wow this month, we've got who have I been hanging out with, and we've got what made and break me. So without further ado, let's make a start. So I have my trusty planner with me, which has been my little lifesaver, and I am really thoroughly enjoying having the ability to track stuff a little more. Not that I'm tracking it down to the hour, because I haven't got time to be tracking to the hour, but it does help me track how many days I've stitched on what, so at least I can give you a bit more idea of, you know, how often I've stitched on something, rather than just stitching on it and saying, well, this is sort of what I did, but I have no idea how long I was stitching on it. So let's start with the whips. So whips. Where do we start? Thank you for all the lovely people that have been joining me with my Stitch With Me, my new Stitch With Me videos. I wasn't quite sure about the Stitch With Me videos, like I said, and if I'm honest, it's still a work in progress, because they're a lot more tricky than I anticipated that they would be. That's not to say that I won't get there eventually, so please bear with me. So if I just sit there rambling and there's lots of, oh, hold on, I need to count, it's because I'm just not used to it. Really not used to it. So the first one up is my lovely Red Queen, Red Dragon. About now, I'll be showing you a picture of what it looks like. And if I've got any footage of where you last saw it, you will see that now. I absolutely love stitching on this. So this one, I decided that I was going to stitch it on 28 count magic guide, 2/1/10 stitch, and this is my progress. So let's bring it forwards for you. I'm loving the coverage. It's really nice to stitch on, and for a full coverage piece. I was a bit concerned first about doing 10 stitch, purely because I was concerned about the coverage of, you know, whether you're going to lose any sort of detail by doing it. I'm sure that by doing it on a higher count, by going to a 28 count, doing it on 10 stitch, it's much closer to a normal little X on a 25 count 1/1. So I'm not seeing currently at the moment any loss of detail at this point in time. So watch this space. It was always my concern doing 10 stitch that I would lose some detail by doing it in 10 stitch. It does stitch up a lot faster because you're only doing the one half of a leg. Thoroughly enjoying this one. So this one, so Red Queen, Red Dragon, she got 10 days worth of stitching on her this month of February. When I say I stitched on it for 10 days, obviously I'm not sitting there stitching for hours and hours for 10 days because I'm at work. So when I say it's been touched 10 days, it just means that it might have had 50 stitches or 100 stitches or a couple of 100 stitches. Depends on what day it is, when I've stitched on it. Most of the time, Monday to Friday, I only ever stitch on something for maybe an hour, if that. Because by the time I get home and, you know, you do your normal stuff, you only get about an hour, and then it's, you know, you get yourself ready for work tomorrow and then you're off to bed. So So, but yeah, I stitch as and when I can, but the whole tracking of it is making it so much easier. So this had 10 days of stitching. And we done the stitch with me, which really helps. So one thing I have noticed is by doing the stitch with me videos and rabbiting the iron legs off a donkey to you all, I actually get a stitch on because I'm actually, you know, I don't easily get swayed to go do something else. So thank you. So it's working. I really do need to make some more of these things, these scroll rod cases, because my lovely next project that I'm about to show you, which is my lovely Peacocks Lagoon, this one, a heaven and earth design, of which if I've got any old footage you will be seeing it around now. It has to be wrapped in a pillowcase, of which it doesn't actually fit in a pillowcase because it's still too big. So I really do need to make another one, or another few, because I've got more scroll frames now. And I've got some that are just not, they're in pillowcases because that's the best I could come up with temporarily. So next up, like I said, is my lovely Peacocks Lagoon, of which I've stitched this on a Stitch With Me video as well. This one is on a 25 count magic guide, stitched 10th stitch 2/1. And here is my progress. So that is where we've got to on that. I've nearly got the little moon done, nearly. But on the Stitch With Me, I was actually finding it easier to just stay with like block colours and try and talk to you at the same time. So to actually do any serious detail on these, I think I might have to do, what do you call it, comfortable silence. Comfortable silence stitching so that I can actually concentrate on what I'm doing, which is not a bad thing. I think I must do that when I'm at home with my family because I obviously can't talk and stitch at the same time. So I must really not speak to my family very much when I'm stitching, but it's only made it apparent when I'm actually trying to talk and stitch at the same time. So the lovely Peacocks Lagoon got stitched on 2 days. I know, only 2. But I think Peacocks Lagoon, I actually stitched on it on a weekend, so I probably got a couple of hours. Next up, what's next? My train project, which is the lovely Soda Stitch High Heels collection. Here it is, this one. Now, you all know that I was like, you know, I really should be able to get this one finished because it's been on the go for some time now. In fact, how long has it been on the go? Let's have a look. Yeah, see, I started High Heels collection on the 18th of September 2016. I think it's entitled to be finished. But would you believe it? I've had a real mare with this, with the last shoe, that I've made so many boo-boos and then couldn't be bothered to actually make it right. So I've sort of fudged it, but then it's making it really difficult to stitch on it going forwards because of the fudging that I've done. So this is where we've got to. So obviously the other shoes I'd already stitched on. I'd already completed this shoe. I'd already completed this shoe, and this is the shoe that I've been working on. And there is millions of errors in there. In fact, I think I've probably made myself, well, I've made it a problem for myself. Because these designs don't actually pop. If you look at that one where there's the back stitch, as soon as you put the back stitch in, they come to life. Now, the fact that I've made so many boo-boos in this one has actually made it so that the back stitching is going to be an absolute pain because nothing's where it should be, which means I'm going to have to make it up as I go along. So, yeah, I think I've sort of I've made life a little more difficult for myself than I should have done. But I want it finished, and it's a commute stitch. You know, it's not like I'm sitting there with like really sharp pointy scissors and I'm going to sit there and take out the stitches to get it right. I was just like, nah, just fudge it. So we're fudging it and we're going to see what happens at the end. So if it looks like I've got a weird looking shoe at the end, then you know why. So my lovely High Heels collection. So this one is stitched on just a plain standard 25 count white even weave. And this got 4 mornings of stitching, so 4 mornings travelling in. I didn't stitch on it as much as I should have, but there is a reason, and it'll all become apparent shortly. So that is my train project that I'm currently working on. Next up is my lovely Andromeda. This one, Mirabilia. Here she is. Now, you'll probably remember that last time I was stitching on her, I think I mentioned that I think I'd gone wrong somewhere. And the only way for me to actually find where I'd gone wrong was to start stitching the skin to bring her leg down to be able to get it right, if that makes any sense. So this one is stitched on 28 count Chromatic Alchemy fabric in the colourway Cyrus. So here she is. And let me see if I can get the threads out of the way so that it's not all in the way. Okay, let's get those out of the way. So now everyone else shows theirs and they're like, you know, they haven't got all these hanging threads. It all looks wonderful. Me, you see it as it is. You know, I park my threads even on Mirabilias. So as you can see, I have made some more progress. So I've actually worked on this section here, but my main focus was really to stitch the leg and get some outline around the leg to work out where I'd gone wrong down here, because I'd realised when I was working in this section that something wasn't quite right. And I was right. I was right to make that decision because I had gone wrong. And by stitching this part of the leg down, told me where I'd gone wrong so I could take the stitches out. So I haven't fudged this one. I have actually corrected the errors, or as best I can, from what I can tell. So yeah, but it has made me sort of crack on with some skin, which I don't really like doing too much of in one foul swoop because it's a bit time consuming, and yeah, it's 1 over 1. It's not fab. I don't like it that much. But worse than that, the back stitch. Oh, I nearly fell off my own chair then. The back stitch. Oh, it's official. I hate back stitch. I can't do it. The legs, I don't, is it me? So the question is, right, so for those that, I mean, Carl at Stitching in Sound, Ladybird Stitcher, all of those people that just crack out these amazing Mirabilias. Is it just me? But when you're doing the back stitch, do you actually follow the pattern? Because when I follow the pattern for the back stitch on this chart, I had the wiggly woggliest looking legs you've ever seen in your life. And it was all like sharp angles. And I was like, nobody's legs look like that. You know, even if, well, I've never seen legs like that. It's a bit like arms, you know, there's a certain shape they need to be. And this is no different. It needs to have a certain shaped leg. But when I tried to follow the chart, the back stitch just didn't work. It just made her leg look like it was a load of weird looking lines in the wrong places. So I've ended up just sort of like making it up as I go along to just make the shape of the leg look a bit better. But I don't know. I can't stand back stitch. And I just can't do it. I think I'm just going to have to pick charts that don't have any back stitching. However, saying that, a lovely lady, and I can't remember your name for the life of me, so I'll put the name down here, put a comment in one of my videos, I think in the January video, where she was saying, she gave me a link to a video where the lady also doesn't like back stitch. So she does a type of couching back stitch, which apparently is different. Haven't been and checked it out yet, but I will do. And I'll put the link to the video in this video so that you can head over if you're like me and you struggle with your back stitch. But like I said, I've not actually seen how she does it or what couching back stitch is, whether it's different or not, but I'm willing to give anything a go than to have to keep suffering having wonky, weird looking legs and arms. But is it just me? Is it just me and I'm not following the pattern correctly? But I thought it was, but it just makes it just doesn't. I just can't do it, and the legs look all wrong. Anything that's got sort of, I mean, like the faces where it's like straight angles, it's fine, but the minute it goes into sort of where it goes halfway across and then a quarter of a way across, I think that's where it starts to go wrong, because then all of a sudden it's like, well, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look like where it's supposed to go. I mean, maybe I should just trust the pattern and do it, but I get so far and then I'm like, no, rip that back out and start all over again. So the dramas of backstitch, really. I'm really no good at it. Maybe I need a course in backstitching. So the lovely Andromeda, she was stitched on 3 times this month. So what have we done? So now we have got, what's next? My lovely chatelaine. And here is a picture of what it will look like. Here we go. So that is what it will look like. Now, had everything gone according to plan, you would have seen a stitch with me video with me doing my Iberian eyelets on this as a stitch with me. But the problem was, it was my first ever stitch with me, and the whole trying to hold a conversation with myself, of which I have to add. See, this is it. You don't realise that when we're sitting here showing you everything, it's not like we're actually talking to anyone. We're actually sitting here talking to ourselves. So the whole concept of what on earth do I talk about and how do I talk and concentrate on what I'm doing at the same time was beyond me, and especially to do Iberian eyelets. So there have been a lot of questions about the fabric for this project. Here it is. And this fabric, and I'm going to put it at the bottom of the screen so that it's actually written down for those that are wondering, because there are so many people that comment on this fabric. So the fabric is a fabric by Stephanie. It's a 25 count and it's in a colourway Abyss. And I'll put that on the screen here for you as well so that you can see. So here we are to show you what I've been doing. So the bit that I actually stitched with you, although you don't know that because you haven't seen the video, is this corner. And obviously you can see there the Iberian eyelets. I don't know why I keep calling them owlets. I did all those whilst I was talking. But the video was so, oh, hold on, let me do this. Oh, hold on, let me do that I never actually uploaded it. I was rather hoping that I was good enough to have saved some of the footage so that I could input it into this video, but I didn't. I think I was just like, no, there's no way I can upload that. It was terrible, I have to be honest. So as you can see, I've stitched this whole corner. It's got the specialty stitches in, so the only thing that's remaining for that is the beads. Obviously, there's still these bits to do. I've still got some bits and pieces that still need to happen on this one before I move on too much more onto the next section. But I was just fancying a bit of a change, so that was why I decided to do that and go over here and do a corner. But yeah, love this piece. Still love it. It is a really, really, really lovely stitch. It's just that when you've got to do 4 sets of everything, sometimes, when needs must, you just have to step outside of what is expected and, you know, whatever the instruction says, and do it slightly differently. So I decided I needed a bit of a change. So I decided to do a corner. But it has inspired me because I'm right now I need to finish all those other bits and pieces so that I could do another corner. So absolutely love that one. As you all know, it's been I love it ever since I started it. And I can't wait to start another chatelaine, if I'm completely and utterly honest. I really, really enjoy them. They've got so much detail in them. They're so varied. Me personally, I don't think I would ever stitch them on the called for size, which is normally either a 28 or a 32 count. purely because of the tightness sometimes on the beads. I found that on this particular project, and the fact that there's beads that are sitting right next to each other on quite a lot of areas of it, the 25 count is perfect, and I like a little bit of jiggle space around my beads. So I think I will always do them on a 25 count rather than a called for 28 or 32. That's just me personally. So the lovely Evening in the Park by Alain was stitched 3 days last month, of which one of them was almost a whole day of stitching with you, although you never saw it. So that is all my whips. Yes, it is. Is it? Yeah. Although we have got... No, we haven't, because that's a new start. Oh, spoiler! So, FFO. No, not FFO. Come on, Teresa, get it right. FO. So for those of you that are connected to me via my blog, you will know that I have an FO. And of course, it is the lovely Cricket Collection Spring. Don't know if I can do this without too much glare. Ooh, that's not what you want, is it? There we go. That one. And this one I was stitching as my train project, and I made it a train stroke focus project to get it finished. This one is stitched on a 28 count Lugana by Chromatic Alchemy in the colourway Spring at Lakeside. And I even ironed it for you. See? See how good I'm being? Even ironed it for you. So here it is. And I love it. Absolutely love it. So there we go. Start at the beginning. It's got so much fun in it. It's just such a fun stitch. I can't believe how big it is though. That's the only thing. When I first saw it, I was thinking, yeah, that'll stitch up pretty quick. And in actual fact, it's took me a lot longer than I anticipated that it would take. So there you go. That's it in all its glory. So this one I stitched on 5 days to get it completed, and I did make it a bit of a focus piece. I started it on the 6th of February 2018 and I finished it on the 15th of the 2nd 2019. So it took me just over a year to do this one. But as soon as I got it done, because obviously I'd already sort of said, you know, what do you reckon I should do with it? And there was all these different suggestions, and, you know, rather than frame it, I was thinking, yeah, do some finishing, Teresa. You know, all these people keep doing wonderful finishes. Yeah, do something. So I dragged my husband out, much to his displeasure, for a little trip in the car to go and buy some fabric from a shop that's like an hour and a half away in the car. But when I got there, once again, it was the same dilemma. I can't find any colours that actually matched what I was looking for, or that made me go, ooh, yeah, that's talking to me. So I ended up getting 2 different colours because I was so undecided, because they're just 2 different colours. At first I was thinking, well, maybe I could do a double colour with the fabric and then put it on like an easel or something, which was originally this plan. But then the more that I look at it with the blue, I was like, because I was trying to make it so that, see the blue down there? I was hoping that the blue would pull more blue out. But the more that I look at it, and especially when I look at it on these videos, I think it doesn't work. And I did actually have a little stitchy chat with Ginger Gerald. And I asked him, and he sort of agreed with me that we're leaning more towards the pink. Because, but then again, yeah, see, if you hold the blue up against it, I'm not sure. I don't think there's enough blue in the design to put something as dark as that behind it. But then when you put it against the pink, says the girl that loves pink, I think I'm leaning more towards just pink. What's your thoughts? It's just such a difficult decision. And this is why I need a finishing service, or something where there is a finishing service. Hold that thought, because my husband's looking through the window. I need a finishing service of some description, because I'm just not very good at it. You know, knowing what colours go with what and how to make it look special. I'm just not very good at it. Just not very good at it at all. But over here in the UK, I've not found anywhere where there's a finishing service, or someone that can, you know, take this piece of stitching and turn it into something beautiful. Other than, do I just take it to a framer, pick a mat board and have it in a frame? That's where I'm sort of feeling like I'm going back to again, because I don't know. I don't know. But at least I went and tried to get some fabric for it. And I'm still undecided of whether I like it. And then obviously it's like, I don't want to finish it and finish it wrong and then be really disappointed with it. But that's the problem. I could sit here and stitch all these lovely things, but it's knowing how to finish them all. Which is why I think I quite like the bigger projects, because they're always going to go in a frame. And then that means they go to framers, and the framers make them look beautiful, not me. So, but whilst I was there, I also picked up some fabric to go on my... Oh, what did I do with that? She says, hold on. No, it's not here. That's a bit strange. I must have filed it somewhere. Not in the right place, obviously. Oh, it's because it's in it. Right, so I also... God, this is going well. So I also picked up... or tried to find some fabric to go on my hardanger piece. But I wanted something that actually made the hardanger stand out. And now that I've got it home, in the shop it didn't look so bad, but now that I've got it at home, of course we have to have the camera failure. It wouldn't be one of my videos without it. So I'm not sure I like it, if I'm honest, now that I've got it home and I've had a good look at it. I mean, the idea was to make the stitching stand out by putting something dark behind it and turning it into a cushion and having that on the back, which is like a purpley, but I'm not sure I like it. I did want something green to coordinate these green sections and use the green to go behind the mauve colour, but there wasn't anything, and there wasn't anything that was even remotely close. I don't know. I tried white behind it, but I didn't like that either. So again, I'm stumped. Maybe I should just take it to a framer's and have it framed like a diamond, with like a matte board behind it that's got a similar colour to the hardanger, and have it that way and just have it framed instead. I don't know. And do you know what? I tried to research finishing of hardanger pieces, you know, how you display the hardanger section, how you make it stand out and what they turn it into. I haven't found anything. I've looked all over YouTube and I've Googled it. And other than the fact that they show you white on white, I haven't seen anything where they actually explain to you how you do it and, you know, what you put behind it to make it pop. So if any of you know where I can find that information, I would be very grateful. Although the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm thinking just send it to a framer and get it framed, because this whole finishing thing is making it much more difficult now, because I've got pieces that are finished that I want up on the wall, or I want them somewhere where they're on display, and I've got none of them on display because of I'm not sure about this, I'm not sure about that, well, I don't know how to do this and I don't know how to do that. So yeah, it's his own dilemma. See, own dilemma. So yes, we have an FO. I just need to find a way to get them FFO'd. So there you go. That is it with the actual FOs and the whips. Next up, an impromptu new start. So the idea was that I wasn't going to start anything new until after I'd finished spring and my high heels collection, just to get rid of them because they've been in the whip pile for far too long. However, I'm still abiding by that, but my niece is getting married in April this year. And ever since I've been stitching, every time someone gets married, I've stitched something. So I'm like, well, I can't leave her out. I can't not stitch something for her. But I didn't want something big or something that was going to make it so that I felt pressured that I've got to, stitch on it endlessly to be able to get it done in time. So I've been searching for a long, quite a couple, well, I'd say a couple of months to find something that's wedding-y and small that won't take forever to stitch. And I came up with, at last, the sweetheart tree from This Day Forward. So here it is. That's the design, if I can get it in, that's it. And it's got lots of different little specialty stitches in there. And it's got like a little ring that comes with the pack. Love it. So I ordered the fabric, of which is a 32 count, I believe. What is it? It's a 32 count white Belfast linen. I ordered the one specialty thread that it calls for, which is a Colourworks thread. And this is the little, I love this, this is just too cute. This is the little ring charm to go on the piece. And I've made a start, and I've only made a start on it this morning, so this has only just started. And although, I mean, it's a dinky little bit of fabric on a dinky little frame, see? I'm not 100% sure that I'm happy with my little satin stitch flower yet, but like I said, it's only just started. But that is basically where we've got to. It's tiny so far. I'm not sure I've done the satin stitches right. It does say for beginners, you could just cross stitch them, but I didn't really want to cross stitch them. So I thought I'd have a go at the satin stitch and see how we got on. So I don't think they look too bad. And obviously once you've got a bit more stuff on the fabric, then I think that will help. But yeah, so I have a new start, which I was planning on not doing it this time round, and then I thought, no, it's not fair. You can't stitch something for everybody else's weddings and not hers. So I just need to get a little stitch on it and get it done now. So a new start is in the mist. When I eventually finish my high heels collection, and even possibly before then, I decided that I really, really wanted something that had some hard hanger and drawn thread in it. And you remember for my birthday, my lovely husband ordered me the Judy Dixon Autumn Promise. Here it is. And they're like little blocks. So I was thinking, well, it's not imperative that you do it all in one foul swoop. It'll be something that you can stitch a bit, then leave it for a bit, and actually feel like you've got like little bands of completion. A bit like my band sampler, really. I ordered the threads for this, of which they're all silk threads, all barring the pearl cottons. So let me show you. The sun keeps coming out here. Okay. Would you believe me if I told you that just these cost me 50 quid? 50 quid? Can you believe it? I was like, wow, it doesn't seem like there's enough there to cost me £50. But where needs must. And of course, I wasn't going to try and substitute for anything other than the called for silk threads, because I'm loving the silk threads. So that one is going to start, but this one is not starting until my lovely high heels collection is completed, because that needs to be done. So there we go. I think I've covered everything stitchy to show you. Yeah. So what else? What made and broke me this month? Well, make me, I think, is sort of everything at the moment, because I've been loving everything that I've stitched on this month. The break me is definitely the shoes. The high heel shoes is just like, they need to be done and they need to be gone, but I just need to get it right. So that's definitely a break. I'm just like, oh, can't believe that it's one of the smallest, supposedly easiest stitches, and I struggle with it. So what made me go wow this month? I don't know if I told you on my last video, but I was watching Vintage Stitches and she done a tutorial on French knots. And as you know, me and French knots are a bit like me and backstitch, but she done such a great tutorial on it that I just have to give it a go, because it was just, you know, she even covers what to do if you've got a French knot that doesn't look right, that's already in, you know, like a sort of fix the French knot. So I was just like, I so have to give this a go. I need some project that's got some French knots in it first though, but I do have to give it a go. So I'll put the little link here so that you can head off to Vintage Stitches and check out her tutorial, because I was just like, wow, that's good. And she does make it look so easy. What else? Who have I been hanging out with this month? So I haven't been on Flosstube that much this month because I've been rather busy, but some of the people that I have hung out with, and when I say hang out with, I mean I've watched their Flosstube videos and give them a like. I mean, I don't always comment. You know what I'm like for commenting. Just, it's no different to me being on social media. I'm useless at that as well. So who have I hung out with? So this month on Flosstube, I have hung out with and been watching Terry Leaf Crafts, Ginger Gerald, Michelle Bendy Stitchy, Stitching in Sand, Carl, of which he made me completely jealous because of all the clay by Kim stuff that he keeps getting. I mean, I keep going on the Etsy store, but whenever I go on there aren't any needle minders left. So I think that they must go up and then they just sell straight away. It's like, sold. So, I have got one needle minder and one slide case by Clay by Kim. But that's all I've ever managed to get. And I really, really love them. I think they're so, so gorgeous, so well made. So yeah, Kyle, I'm super jealous, mate. Super jealous. Who else have I been hanging out with? Stitching All the Things, where she's been showing us her lovely new craft room. Who doesn't like a new craft room? And especially with all them fabrics that she's got. Maybe she's got some fabric that goes with this. I bet she could finish this okay. Who else have I been hanging out with? I said Pam and Steph, didn't I? Just Keep Stitching. The lovely ladies. And also Teresa Craig from Down Under. And she was telling us about her adventures on her retreat. So yeah, so I have watched a few videos, not as many as I would like, but then that's not unusual either. What else to tell you? Some stitchy kindness, I do believe. If I can find it underneath these piles of stuff. So finally, some stitchy kindness. So I received a lovely message from a lady by the name of Deborah in Belgium. And she said that she makes needle minders. And while she was watching my video, she asked me if I would mind if she sent me some of her handmade needle minders. And I was like, of course I wouldn't mind. I'd love to receive some. So Lover, not only did she send me some lovely needle minders, but she also done one that replicated my little logo, like the heart. So here it is. And it's just too cute. Look at that. See? It's my logo. And then there's another one there that's pink and, well, of course it's pink. This is the name of her Etsy store, and she has got some other needle minders on there. I'm not going to say the name because I'll totally butcher it. So, but love those. Love, 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 love those. Nothing quite like having your own little logo on a needle minder. So yeah, thank you so much, Deborah. That is really, really lovely of you. So there you go. There you have it. That's the fun I've been having. I hope you're all having fun. Obviously the plan is that I'll do some more Stitch With Me videos, and I promise that I will do my very utmost to improve with the whole talking and stitching thing. But if I can't, and I just can't get my head around it, then we might need to just do comfortable silence with a little bit of background music. But that is it from me. So until next time, bye bye for now.